The best team in the world is back, with a two-time Champions League winner worth €150 million. Just when Europe thought Real Madrid were finally vulnerable, just when Barcelona started celebrating a new era, just when their rivals believed the throne had changed hands for good, Real Madrid answered. Endrick, Denzel Dumfries, Nico Paz, Ibrahima Konate, Kylian Mbappe, Vinicius Jr., Jude Bellingham, Arda Güler, Thibaut Courtois. That's already an absurd amount of talent. Now imagine all of them being managed by Jose Mourinho.
I have to say this. We have top players. And I'm sorry, I'm a bit arrogant. We have a top manager. Again, please don't call me arrogant, because what I'm saying is true. I'm European champion, so I'm not one of the bottle. I think I'm a special one.
Suddenly, the idea of Real Madrid becoming the most feared team in football no longer sounds like a fantasy. It sounds inevitable. 2 seasons without major trophies have been a humiliation inside the Santiago Bernabeu. For most clubs, finishing second would be acceptable. For Real Madrid, it is a crisis. And football history has taught us something very dangerous. When Real Madrid lose, they rebuild. But when Real Madrid feel humiliated, they create monsters. That is exactly what Florentino Perez is trying to do right now. The arrivals of Endrick, Dumfries, Konate, and Nico Paz are only the beginning, because the names being linked with the club are even more frightening. Joao Neves, the engine of the back-to-back European champions. Alessandro Bastoni, the defensive leader Barcelona desperately wanted but could never get. Enzo Fernandez, arguably the best attacking midfielder in the Premier League and one of the most complete midfielders on the planet. And if even 1 or 2 of those deals become reality, this won't simply be a rebuild, it will be a declaration of war against the rest of Europe. Because this squad already contains the goals of Mbappe, the magic of Vinicius, the leadership of Bellingham, the creativity of Nico Paz, the potential of Endrick, the quality of Arda Güler, the power of Dumfries, and the experience of Courtois. But now they are adding something even more dangerous: hunger. The same hunger that created the Galacticos, the same hunger that created the 3-peat Champions League dynasty, the same hunger that has terrified European football for decades. Barcelona wanted competition.
Vamos a preguntar por lo que le viene la próxima temporada. Are you ready for Mourinho next season?
Of course. Why not? It's a coach. It's a coach from an opponent, and I'm always ready for everyone.
Europe wanted a challenge. Well, be careful what you wish for, because the 2026 version of Real Madrid is beginning to look absolutely terrifying. Don't believe me? Take a look at this. Jose Mourinho's revolution at Real Madrid is only just getting started. But to understand what the Portuguese manager is planning, we first need to understand the Real Madrid he is walking into, and the problems he needs to fix. The 63-year-old arrives at a club going through one of the biggest crises of the modern era. Real Madrid have gone 2 straight seasons without winning a major trophy, have dealt with several off-the-pitch controversies, and look far from the dominant force they once were. The first thing Mourinho must fix is the dressing room. His return to Madrid reportedly gained momentum after a series of incidents behind the scenes, culminating in Federico Valverde requiring hospital treatment following an altercation with Aurélien Tchouameni.
Évidemment, il s'est passé quelque chose, vous l'avez tous entendu, lu. Après, ça a pris des proportions encore plus grandes parce que malheureusement, c'est sorti dans la presse et on joue au Real Madrid, des joueurs importants, donc forcément, ça va créer une vive réaction.
But the problem started long before that. Even before players were reportedly fighting with each other, Xabi Alonso had described the squad as impossible to coach, with too much player power and not enough control from the management side. That is exactly why Florentino Perez wanted someone different, someone with authority, someone who can restore discipline.
And the team of good guys. But the story of football is that the teams of good guys, they never win. So fucking hell. Be a
Something Álvaro Arbeloa never fully managed to do.
No ha jugado porque el míster me ha dicho que para él soy el cuarto delantero de la plantilla, detrás de Mastontuono, Vini y Gonzalo. Al final acepto y juego el tiempo que tengo a jugar.
Mourinho will need every bit of the man management skill that made him successful at Chelsea and Inter Milan if he wants to bring peace and unity back to Valdebebas. The second major issue is leadership. Sergio Ramos is gone, Toni Kroos is gone, Luka Modric is gone, Nacho Fernandez is gone, and now Dani Carvajal has left too. Real Madrid suddenly find themselves without clear leaders. And the worrying part is that the new generation have not exactly set the best example. The reported clash involving Valverde, Vinicius Jr.'s frustrations during El Clásico,
Pero cada entrenador tiene su método, cada entrenador tiene sus cosas y yo creo que no he sido posible de conectar con que él quería y que el equipo quería.
and the criticism aimed at Mbappé for travelling to Italy during difficult moments of the season, or posting messages on social media while Madrid were struggling, have all highlighted a lack of leadership inside the squad. And that is a massive problem, because Mourinho's greatest teams always had leaders on the pitch. John Terry, Didier Drogba, Javier Zanetti, Marco Materazzi. Players who could carry the dressing room when things became difficult. Now Mourinho must identify which players truly have that Real Madrid mentality and can lead both on and off the pitch. The third challenge is clearing out the squad. New signings are important, but moving players on could be just as important, especially if Madrid need to generate money for future transfers. After analysing the squad, Mourinho has reportedly identified several players who do not fit into his long-term plans. Eduardo Camavinga, Rodrigo Goes, Franco Mastantuono, Fran Garcia, Raúl Asensio, and Dani Ceballos are among the names linked with possible exits. Selling some of those players could generate a huge amount of money for Madrid's transfer plans. The fourth challenge is solving the biggest puzzle in modern Madrid, making Kylian Mbappé and Vinicius Jr. work together. Despite scoring more than 40 league goals between them last season, they still have not fully clicked on the pitch.
Mbappé, instead of staying as a 9, he always goes into Vinicius' path and try to get the ball in and around here. Once again, both there, Vinicius doesn't know where to go. Okay, he passes it, now Kylian, then he realizes...
2 years together, no major trophies, and increasingly they seem to represent two different sides of the dressing room. Since neither player is realistically going anywhere, Mourinho's task is to build a system that allows both superstars to thrive together instead of getting in each other's way. And if anyone knows how to manage elite forwards, it is Mourinho. He famously turned Samuel Eto'o into a winger when the team needed it. He also coached Cristiano Ronaldo during his greatest goal-scoring season, when the Portuguese superstar scored an astonishing 60 goals in 2011-12. He even found a way to balance the personalities of Cristiano and Karim Benzema. If Mourinho can finally make Mbappé and Vinicius work together, both on and off the pitch, it would prove that his greatest strengths as a tactician and motivator are still very much alive. He will also need to convince Vinicius to sign a new contract. And then comes the fifth challenge, finding the perfect role for Jude Bellingham. The Englishman recently described himself as a victim of his own versatility. Last season he was constantly moved into different roles, and it clearly affected his numbers. The result was his least productive campaign since arriving in Spain, finishing with just 8 goals and 5 assists in all competitions. Mbappé's arrival also changed Bellingham's role dramatically, yet it remains obvious that he is still one of the best attacking midfielders in world football. Mourinho's job is to create a fixed system that gets the absolute best out of him. And once you understand all these problems, mate, the moves Florentino Perez and Jose Mourinho have already started making suddenly look absolutely brilliant. Mourinho is putting together what could become one of the most frightening starting 11s in world football. An 11 built for one objective, taking back Spain and going head-to-head with Barcelona. In goal, there is no debate. Thibaut Courtois remains the undisputed number 1. The Belgian is already one of the greatest goalkeepers in Real Madrid history and continues to prove why many still consider him the best goalkeeper on the planet. Last season he produced heroic performances, from his incredible save against Vlahovic in the Champions League to a masterclass against Manchester City, where he not only made 3 crucial stops, but also delivered one of the best ball-playing displays of his career. At right back, Mourinho has a fascinating dilemma. Trent Alexander-Arnold and Denzel Dumfries offer completely different solutions. Trent remains one of the most gifted creators in football. He can change a match with a single pass, and showed flashes of his quality against Bayern Munich, Athletic Club, Real Sociedad, Atletico Madrid, and Mallorca. His first season in Madrid was complicated by injuries and adaptation issues, but under Mourinho, he could finally unlock his best version. Then there is Dumfries. The Dutchman arrived after 5 seasons at Inter Milan, where he won 2 Serie A titles, 3 Coppa Italia trophies, and reached 2 Champions League finals. Unlike Trent, Dumfries is built around power, athleticism, and attacking aggression. The football world saw it during the Champions League semi-final against Barcelona, when he scored 2 goals in the first leg, including a spectacular bicycle kick, and added 2 assists in the second leg. He gives Madrid a completely different weapon, and even allows Mourinho to switch into a back 3 system whenever necessary. In central defence, Antonio Rudiger remains the defensive leader. He is aggressive, fearless, and one of the toughest defenders any striker can face. Alongside him is new arrival Ibrahima Konate. On paper, his 1.94-metre frame, physical dominance, and elite-level defensive qualities make him one of the most intimidating centre-backs in Europe. However, there are serious questions after a disastrous season filled with mistakes. Many Madrid fans criticised Asensio's errors, but Konate arguably committed even more. The reality is that Madrid signed him because Milito's physical condition remains uncertain and because the Frenchman arrived without a transfer fee. His ceiling is enormous, but so is the risk. At left-back, uncertainty remains. Reports suggest Mourinho is unconvinced by Fran Garcia, despite a season in which his speed and energy became valuable assets. His ability to constantly attack and recover defensively fits modern football perfectly. If the rumours are true, Álvaro Carreras could become the starter, although he will need to perform at a significantly higher level to secure the role. The midfield is where things become really interesting. Arda Güler could operate from the right half space, cutting inside onto his deadly left foot while adding creativity and dynamism. Federico Valverde, after a nightmare end to last season, will be desperate to re-establish himself as one of the pillars of the team. Jude Bellingham remains the star of the midfield, a player who constantly demands the ball and looks to influence every phase of the game. Then there is Nico Paz, perhaps the biggest tactical challenge Mourinho must solve. After an exceptional season with Como in Serie A, his return to Madrid feels inevitable. The Argentine has become one of the brightest stories to emerge from a difficult period for the club. His trademark Zidane-style roulettes, ability to eliminate defenders, vision, creativity, and clutch performances against Inter,
Nico Paz!
Milan,
Atención porque se equivoca el arquero, ahora sí, gol.
Juventus,
Nico Paz con Acuña. Entra Kempford. Elude la marca, Nico Paz.
Roma, and
Aguanta muy bien, gira mejor.
On the turn.
Lazio
El argentino. Prueba el arco.
have convinced many that he is ready for the biggest stage. The challenge now is finding enough minutes for him without slowing down his development. Now here's where things get really interesting. We already told you that Joao Neves appears to be Florentino Perez's priority target. And with Florentino, you can never completely rule out names like Enzo Fernandez or even Michael Olise. But if you follow the clues that have emerged, a young player, not a defender, a transfer potentially worth around €150 million, already starring for one of Europe's elite Champions League clubs, everything points towards the 21-year-old Portuguese sensation. And honestly, he makes perfect sense. Joao Neves would give Mourinho exactly what this Real Madrid midfield has been missing: tactical aggression, ball recovery, endless energy, and elite-level game control. The PSG midfielder combines intelligence, positioning, and work rate in a way that makes him one of the most complete young midfielders in world football. His greatest strength is what happens when Madrid lose the ball. Neves reads danger incredibly well, anticipates passing lanes, and constantly wins possession back. He would allow Real Madrid to recover the ball higher up the pitch, stop dangerous counter-attacks before they develop, and immediately launch new attacks. But unlike many defensive midfielders, he doesn't just win the ball back, keeps the game flowing, and links defence with attack effortlessly. At only 21 years old, he would also represent the long-term future of Madrid's midfield, perfectly complementing the physical power of Valverde and Camavinga, while adding another layer of technical quality. And his season proves exactly why Madrid are interested. Joao Neves finished the campaign with 7 goals and 4 assists, while producing some of the biggest performances of his career in the Champions League. He scored twice and provided 3 assists during PSG's European run, constantly stepping up when the pressure was highest. Against Bayern Munich during the league phase, he scored. Against Tottenham, he delivered a surgical assist. Against Chelsea, he produced a clever-headed assist for Barcola. Against Liverpool in Paris, he created another decisive goal.
And a ball forward for Kvaratskhelia. And the challenge was by Ryan.
And at Anfield, with Liverpool throwing everything forward looking for a comeback, Neves produced a midfield masterclass, completely controlling transitions and delivering one of the most mature performances of his young career. His display against Bayern in Paris showed exactly why his ceiling is so high. In a chaotic 5-4 PSG victory, he scored 1 goal, completed 24 accurate passes, and registered 6 defensive clearances. Not only did he provide his usual tactical intelligence and defensive work, but he also demonstrated demonstrated how dangerous he can be, arriving late into attacking positions. Then came the Champions League final. In the biggest match of the season, Neves played the full 120 minutes and delivered a colossal performance. He completed 69 of 72 passes for an incredible 96% accuracy, won 3 tackles, made 9 clearances and drew 7 fouls. While Arsenal pressed relentlessly, Neves remained calm under pressure and became one of the pillars that kept PSG alive during extra time before the Parisian side eventually lifted the trophy. And for anyone who thinks he is only a defensive midfielder, remember what happened against Toulouse. That match produced the first hat-trick of his professional career during PSG's 6-3 victory. It was a game that completely changed the perception of his attacking potential. Despite being known primarily as an organiser and controller in midfield, he attacked the box relentlessly and scored 3 spectacular goals. Not tap-ins, not lucky rebounds. 2 bicycle kicks and a thunderbolt from outside the area. That performance showed something terrifying. Joao Neves is still evolving. His defensive ability is already elite.
At the moment. And a ball forward for Kvaratskhelia. And the challenge is by Ryan.
His passing is already elite. His tactical understanding's already elite. And now he is beginning to add goals to his game. And the scary part is that he has already started doing exactly the same thing with Portugal. One of the clearest examples came in the historic 9-1 demolition of Armenia. He scored the first hat-trick ever of his Portugal career, dominated transitions, controlled the tempo, and constantly arrived inside the box like a natural goal scorer. But his impact goes far beyond goals. During Portugal's Nations League triumph, Neves was one of the pillars of the team, producing outstanding performances against Germany and Spain when the pressure was at its highest. If Portugal want to win the 2026 World Cup, Joao Neves will be one of the biggest reasons why, which is exactly why Florentino Perez is obsessed with him. Because if Real Madrid complete this signing, they won't just be buying another midfielder, they will be buying a player capable of solving multiple structural problems at once. Ball recovery, build-up play, midfield control and surprise attacking production. And that is exactly the kind of Galactico Mourinho needs. And then comes the player many believe will be Madrid's biggest signing of all, Enzo Fernandez. After back-to-back outstanding seasons at Chelsea, Enzo has evolved into a complete midfielder. He creates chances, scores goals, dictates tempo and attacks the box with authority. Madrid desperately need a player capable of controlling matches from midfield, and Enzo offers exactly that. Whether operating as a deep-lying playmaker or a box-to-box number 8, he would immediately become one of the most important players in Mourinho's system. But the attack is where this team becomes truly terrifying. If Mourinho makes the obvious choice, Kylian Mbappe will lead the line. His numbers are absurd. 86 goals in 103 matches for Real Madrid, 42 goals last season, La Liga top scorer and Champions League Golden Boot winner. He remains one of the deadliest finishers on the planet. On the right, Endrick has evolved dramatically during his loan spell in France. He developed as both a number 10 and a right-sided attacker, producing 8 goals and 8 assists in just 24 appearances for Lyon. Before leaving Madrid, he already had the best goals per minute ratio in the squad. Now he returns with more creativity, better decision-making, and even greater confidence. On the left is Vinicius Jr. Despite contract negotiations still ongoing, Florentino Perez has made it clear that the Brazilian remains a cornerstone of the project. His talent is undeniable. What he needs is direction, discipline, and focus. If Mourinho can channel all of that energy the way he once did with players like Eto'o, Vinicius could become unstoppable, and that is before mentioning the depth. Brahim Diaz, Gonzalo Garcia, Aurelian Tchouameni, Camavinga. The quality inside this squad is ridiculous. That is why Barcelona should be paying attention. That is why Europe should be worried. Because if Mourinho manages to bring all these pieces together, the 2026 version of Real Madrid will not be normal. It will be terrifying.